like we're on the air. All right.
And
Consume, conform. What's up?
What'd you say?
I said consume, conform. It's Nevermore there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So
we got Rich over there. How's it going, Rich?
all right, what's happening?
All right. Well, I'm actually not rocking a band shirt.
I am Merciful Fate.
Merciful Fate. Okay. It's a little dark there. Okay.
And we are here in February. We're trying to get into a groove talking about new music each month or every couple of weeks, right? Because there's a lot of music that comes out, and instead of just writing reviews, talking reviews, right?
That's right.
For Metal Asylum.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on this year. So yeah. So this we're trying out this format. So yeah, so Rich, I know I'm a little bit later on the album front. I've got some stories to tell from January, but I have a couple of things I've been listening to that I want to talk about. But why don't you start us off? Tell us some of the exciting new stuff. Oh, by the way, before you click away, we are gonna go back and talk about a couple of classics too before we're out of here. But let's focus on new stuff. So talk to me about new stuff you got going on, Rich.
Right. Well, one of them is the new Gravedigger Bone Collector, which we talked to Chris like a month ago or so. Right. So that's out on vinyl. If you're into vinyl, it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's a good looking record.
Yeah.
No comment on the artwork, but yeah, they did a nice job with the. Here, let's see the inside.
Yeah, it looks great. Very old school with the concert photos, right?
And you know what? If you like Gravedigger, you're going to like this album. And there's no surprises. I mean, I don't mean this as a negative review. There's no surprises, but it's a good, solid Gravedigger. It's called The Bone Collector. It's a good, solid Gravedigger album. If you like Gravedigger, then it won't change your life, but you'll be pleased.
If you're a long-time fan like me, which you know, and probably a lot of people know, that they have two different eras that they go back and forth with. They go from the heavy metal breakdown, war games, witch hunter, traditional speed metal, traditional metal thing going on. And then there's your epic power metal stuff like Tunes of War, right? Knights of the Cross, Excalibur. There's a bunch of albums like that, in their catalogs. Every few years, every few albums, they go back and forth. So The Bone Collector is a return to, if you like the heavy speed metal of The Reaper and Heart of Darkness and The Gravedigger, along those lines, without like the bagpipes and the keyboards and the big layered vocals,
Right. I hear echoes of that. Like they can't shed it completely. I think it's too much a part of who they are. But yeah, it is definitely more stripped down. It's definitely a more traditional metal than folk metal.
Yeah, like I said, back to if you like The Reaper and Heart of Darkness, Symphony of Death, heavy metal breakdown, it's right in line with that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, good stuff. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
I'll talk up. I'll go next. So it's actually not out yet. It's coming out March 28th. But the Blood Dynasty, the new Arch Enemy album, is really good. I mean, it's kind of Arch Enemy have gotten really good at what they do. They've really got it down to it. They've got a system.
Yeah, it's March 28th, by the way. I'm looking at some release dates here.
And if anything, like it's a good solid album. There's some excellent riffs. So it's like Dream Stealer. That song's out right now, and that song is really, it's a good, really heavy, really brutal tune. Alyssa sounds great. She does some clean vocals on the album, and she does some heavy, like her usual kind of growl. It's a good solid, like Arch Enemy, like they can just keep extracting parts and people and then still just kind of they're so consistent. I predict the next album will be in line. This one I think is right on par with the previous one. But yeah, Blood Dynasty by Arch Enemy. I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to it yet, but it's good solid Arch Enemy album. I think fans are going to be pleased. A lot of these songs are songs I think will absolutely kill live. So that's something to look out for this year for sure.
And is the singing still the melodic death? Well, not really melodic. The music is melodic, but it's like the death metal vocal, or is it melodic singing too?
No, she does mostly her that's metal growl, but she does. There's a couple of clean spots. She
Mm,
does a chorus on one song is clean. There's a song called Viva Libre, which is, I believe, all clean, if memory serves. But yeah, that's one of the better songs in the album too. It's that's
okay.
that one. That song is a little bit lighter. It's a little bit of a change of pace. But otherwise, every other song in the album is kind of like it's pretty much it's Arch Enemy. If I had one complaint about the album is that there's not a lot of diversity of sound. Like when you listen to it from
Uh,
start to finish, it's kind of like every song doesn't sound the same, but it has the same pace, same aggression, same
yeah.
kind of tone. But great
Okay.
riffs. I mean, Arch Enemy, like that's it's just their riffs. Arnett is just one of our really doesn't get enough credit for
Mm,
his riff writing and his songwriting. So good stuff from Arch Enemy. Keep an eye
all
out
right.
for it in March.
So I got two new wave of traditional heavy metal bands and albums that are coming out, or they should be out already, actually. This band called Saber, Lost in Flames, and then this other one named Lone Shark. It's called No Sins to Confess. They're both on RPM Roar Records.
Right.
And if you like that new wave of traditional heavy metal that's out there, you'll like these two bands. Good
Yeah.
singers. It's it's everything you love from Priest and Maiden and Saxon and Accept, and a little bit of power metal, here and there. Not too much. It's mostly traditional metal.
I
So
like Saber. I don't know the Lone Shark, but when I mean, and just to be clear, let's talk about like we're not talking about like classic Motley Crue, classic like it's not really the hair slash glam. It's more
correct.
traditional,
Right.
you know.
There's a few bands that have that. It depends on who you're catching. Like Hittin, which that band. You like them a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
They have that traditional heavy metal thing going on, but a lot of the glam metal 80s hard rock thing going on too, like 80s Dokken, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's a funny story, yeah, for our viewers. Yeah, when I heard Hidden, I actually introduced Rich. I was like, I
You
heard
did.
them. I was like, this is Rich's band. Like Rich is gonna love this. I was like, this
And they're
they're
great.
pretty good to me, but yeah, I was like, Rich is gonna be all over this. So
Yeah, they're awesome.
I know I know my friends, man. I knew what you're gonna like. So I'm glad you like it.
You got it,
So
man. They got great playing and they got great hooks.
yeah, great hooks, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talked to them, right? We talked to I don't even remember. This is
I
how
don't think we
how much
did.
our how much our careers have gone,
I
Rich.
think
We
you're
talked
thinking of
to
Heat.
and yeah, it is Heat. I think it is Heat. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we
Which
tried to get
them,
him.
which you just reminded me, they have a single out. Now, see, I wrote all these things down and I forgot. But Heat, one of my favorites from the new wave of, if you want to call it 80s glam or hard rock, it's a little bit of both. But they have a new song out. Hold on, give me a second. I'm going to find this because the record is coming out very soon. And the new single, did you hear it?
I have no, I didn't actually I missed it. I've been a little bit out of the loop.
I got to send
Oh,
it to you because
yeah.
it's
Oh,
called the song's called Disaster. It comes out, it's on Ear Music. I think it's any day now. It's either January or February that it came out or it's coming out. And again, great song, big vocals, big riffs, a lot of guitar playing. It's really good. It's not Eric, it's the other singer. He's back.
right,
Eric, who temporarily sang for Skid Row. But this guy's
right.
equally a great singer. And I'm looking forward to that album. You
Cool.
still
We just
there?
froze up for a second. Yeah, we
We
just had
did?
a
Okay.
glitch. We had a glitch in the
I'm
matrix.
just looking up to see when this is coming out.
All right.
Hold on a second. So that's what I mentioned. 3 right there?
Yeah, well, with the heat makes it three. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right,
yeah,
go ahead. You have another one before I throw out a couple more?
yeah. I've got one more I was gonna say that I listened to is actually I I could look it up. The band is called Tumbleweed Dealer, and the album is called Dark Green, and you know exactly what it sounds like just from that. It's actually it's all instrumental, so there's no vocals. It's
Hmm.
kind of like Monkey 3, kind of like I don't know, Greenleaf, like that kind of thing. It's just definitely stoner doom kind of doomy kind of stuff, like a little bit of fuzz to it, but it's good. It's good riffs. It's just easy. It's easy going. It's easy to listen to, even if you're not big deep into that subgenre. This is it's especially because the lack of vocals makes it really kind of very accessible.
Okay.
Or I guess maybe the opposite because a lot of people are going to tune out with no vocals, but it's definitely it's good. It's enjoyable. It's It's a good one. So Tumbleweed Dealer, Dark Green. That's my other one. That's all I got for brand new music for 2025.
Okay.
Actually, I thought of one more, but it's from last year. But I was a little late to the party, so I'll mention. I'll save it. I'll mention it last.
Okay. So the Heat comes out April 25th.
Okay.
Album's called Welcome to the Future. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I like the last album, and Heat 2, which came out a few years ago, which had Eric singing on it. That was like my favorite album of the year. Great, great melodic hard rock metal moments. Cool album. So check out Heat and the song Disaster and the new record coming out, Welcome to the Future.
And by the way, and our best wishes to Eric. I know he's had some health problems, which is what sidelined him. He was
Mhm.
great in with Skid Row. I mean, I didn't see him live, but what I heard on YouTube, he was great, and of course, he was great with Heat. So I hope he can
Yeah.
get his health back on track and
Well, he's still
continue to
singing,
do
still
this.
performing. I just think he can't do all the touring, the extensive touring, a lot of that stuff. But I think he's
Yeah.
been fine recently.
Actually, as a quick note, yeah, go to YouTube and look up Eric Gronwall. His covers have been amazing.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
he's an amazing singer. I saw him with
All
Skid
right.
Row. I saw him once with Skid Row.
Yeah, that's right. I remember. Yeah, I think you
Yeah,
wrote a review. Yeah.
and it blew me away. Amazing, a lot of energy, great singer. I met the guy who's very cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So along those lines, there's another band. They're called Wildness, and the album's
Hmm.
called Avenger. It's also got that retro '80s hard rock glam metal thing going on. If you like Heat, you'll like this band. So they're called Wildness, and the album is Avenger. Then, hold on. I see all these things I wrote down. All right, there's a thrash band. Have you heard of this band called Chemicide? Like chemical, but it's Chemicide.
Okay. No, I'm
You'll
interested.
you'll dig them. The album's called Violence Prevails. It's on Listenable Records. It's like that new wave of thrash metal, the '80s thrash metal. So if you like Municipal Waste, Toxic Holocaust, Havoc, give me another name because you like a few of these newer bands.
Yeah, like Dust Bolt is my favorite
Yes,
of the
like
newest.
that.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of this from this new wave of, you got the new wave of traditional heavy metal, you got the new wave of glam metal, and you also have the new wave of that retro '80s thrash. So
Right.
they're called the Chemicide.
Is it like Evil Invaders? Because well, I mean, Evil Invaders are an interesting thing because they've dabbled
Yes,
in almost all the retro stuff. Like
right. They're kind of like speed metalish too, right? Evil Invaders.
yeah,
Who's the other band? Vulture, who's kind of like
yes,
Evil Invaders. They're good, but this is a
yeah,
little more thrash. Like we're thinking of like the bands we mentioned, but think of retro bands like Exodus, Evil
okay.
Dead, Violence. Um, Give me another one that's in that.
Nuclear
Not
Assault.
not Nuclear Assault. Yes, who's one of your
Oh,
favorites? Not like
yeah,
Forbidden.
Uncle
It's not
Slam.
as technical as that or progressive as like a Forbidden, but it's that
Right.
straight ahead like an Evil Dead or a Violence or like one of your favorites, Nuclear Assault.
Yeah, a lot of tritones, a lot of power chords. Like yeah, I
Yeah,
get it.
the
I totally
vocals
get
are
it.
not quite sung like a Testament or a Blitz or somebody like that, or Joey Belladonna. It's more of like that screechy kind of almost like a yelling delivery.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got you. A
yeah.
little
So I
bit of
think you'll
maybe
like them.
maybe a little bit of destruction.
Yes, yeah. More destruction than definitely a creator or Sodom. It's not like those two. I think it's a little more of a destruction. That's a good call.
Yeah. All right, I'm intrigued. I'll check it out. One more time, the name.
Chemicide. So it's
Homicide.
CHEMICIDE. So instead of chemical, it's chemicide.
Nice.
And it's called
All right.
Violence Prevails.
All right,
And then
cool.
speaking of thrash, I'll throw out another one. Hyrax, Bay Area thrash band.
Yeah, yeah,
Been around for a long
legendary.
time. It was coming up with Metallica and all those bands at the time. They got an
Right,
album coming
right.
out called Faster Than Death on Armageddon, which is the label. And the album is actually produced and mixed and mastered by Max Norman.
Oh crap. Wow. So
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Hey,
So I listen to that. It's got a good mix. It's got a good sound. And it's just like you would like Hyrax, those kind of short songs They get in, they get out, very punchy.
Yeah, like Evil Deadish, maybe.
Right, right. I think the longest song is maybe 3 minutes and 13 seconds. So everything is under that.
Well, we should. Yeah, I shouldn't even say this on a live recording, but we should try to get them on and talk about the album if we can, so we can manage
Yeah,
it. Um,
yeah,
yeah, cool. All
yep.
right, you more on your list, or is that
I got a
that
bunch,
the?
but you want to throw one more out there because there's a few things that came out.
No, I mean, my next thing I was gonna just do like a lightning round recap of some of the live stuff I've seen. So to talk, let's finish the album segment, and I'll do a quick recap of live stuff.
Okay. All right. Let me get my list here. And then, yeah, we got an old pick too that we were going to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right. So, Raven has an album coming out in February, the EP. Can't Take Away the Fire, right?
Who have been killing it in the last couple of years. I actually, again, this is how out of the loop I've been. I
Mm-hmm.
missed that news, so I'm all over that. Raven's been, I mean, great career, of course.
Yeah.
They're founders, but they I'm looking forward to hearing the news, the EP.
Crazy Licks, who I like. They've been around forever. They're one of the oldest from the new wave of glam metal. It's called Thrill of the Bite, which is coming out in February, which I listened to that. Enjoyable album. Hold on. David Lee Roth has a reissue coming out. Did you know that?
Yeah, I'd seen that. I don't know. He hasn't done anything new though. He's just
No.
right. I mean,
This is all
right,
those the Warner albums.
right.
So like Eat 'em and Smile,
Yeah, crazy from the
Skyscraper.
heat. Crazy from the heat.
Yeah, the one with Jason Becker. What was that album? A Little Ain't Enough.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a great song, that title track. So all those records are coming out reissued. If you like the band Brainstorm, do you know them?
Yeah. We haven't talked to them, but yeah, we've talked about them in the past. Yeah,
If you like your power metal with the heavier side, without the keyboards, with the tougher vocals like a Gravedigger or a Running Wild,
yeah,
you would like these guys. Great. They've been around for I think 20 years now, if not more, 25 years.
yeah. I
So
was gonna
they're
say, I think they're this century. I don't think they wait on the
yeah,
'90s.
their album is called Plague of Rats. That's coming out February 28th. And I think that's the same date for the Hyrax. Uh, who did I miss? Dream Theater, Parasomnia is coming out. Actually, it's out
Yeah,
now. 7th,
yeah.
2 days.
Yeah, releases
Yeah.
this week. Yeah,
Yep. And next week is that the Crazy Licks album, and so is the Raven. So there's a lot that's been out since January and now into the beginning of February.
yeah. It's going to be an active year. I mean, none of the
Yeah.
giant names. We don't have a Metallica or a Gojira or anything that like so far. But
That's okay.
the year is young.
That's all
Anthrax
right.
is coming out this year, so that's a
Well,
giant
Dream Theater would be the biggest one out of everybody, but
for sure. Yeah,
important new music that's out there, everybody needs to pay attention to, like a lot of the ones I mentioned. The new
yeah,
generation. Got to
yeah.
get the new
Exactly.
generation supported.
Yeah, it's not only the big names that put out good music. I mean, if you look through our Rich and our albums of the year, it's almost never the big band. Like I really enjoyed Invisible Shield. That was not my number one. Judas Priest is
Mhm.
the great, they're as big as it gets in metal, but that's not my number one.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah, pay
I
attention.
mentioned it too. It was in my 10. It might have been in my 5 actually. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the message, I think Rich and I have shouted this kind of into the darkness, and we don't get a lot of response. Actually, people want to keep listening to Round and Round over and over from,
Right.
but there's lots of great new bands, lots of great new music, even from legacy acts and from bands who are a little bit younger. So
Hmm.
listen to all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so one of the bands. Let me. Well, actually, wait. Hang on. Are we done with? Let me tell my story of. And then let's wrap. How about that? We'll wrap up. We should have talked about this ahead of time. But let's wrap up with our
With our
classics.
old,
Yeah,
yeah, our old classics.
the stuff that people really want to hear about. So we'll dangle that for the end. So let me tell a quick story. I'll tell a quick story. So let me start actually with the band Wicked, who I met the guys and covered them, and they had definitely have an old school kind of a glam, like kind of they're a little bit like Brothers in Arms, a little bit of a Keith St. John kind of vibe. Like
Okay.
they're definitely like four guys with bleach blonde hair, but doing kind of like good time party heavy metal hard rock music. But
Okay.
they'd had a tough assignment. I actually caught them. I saw them twice in California. They had a tough assignment. They were one of the openers for Metal Allegiance. Metal Allegiance is, of course, is a super group of
Very super
that
group.
tends towards the heavier side. So like these guys were, a strange match, but I think they won over the crowd. They did a good job, and
Where are they
you
from?
might dig
You
that.
know?
They're actually New York based. They're upstate New York based. They're not New York City based. So yeah, you might be able to catch them sometime in the East Coast, Rich. And I think you would dig them. I
Okay.
think you would dig their stuff. So yeah, so I saw
Um,
Wicked. So
cool.
where I saw them, actually, I saw them at the Metal Hall of Fame. I was there for the event. I worked the event a little bit. You can see me on the Metal Voice. I did some press.
Right. Yeah, I saw
It
your
was,
review. That was good.
yeah, wrote a review. Yeah, yeah, it was a blast. It was a really good time. Got to meet some legends, and we got to induct some legends. So I highly
Cool.
recommend the Metal Hall of Fame gala event. There's also excellent music. Like especially at
Mhm.
the end of the night, they do an incredible jam. Mark Lopes came out and did some Motorhead. I mean, like they have a rotating cast. They had uh, Dewey from Kill Devil Hill did a Bark at the Moon, and if you close your eyes, you've been like, oh, that's Ozzy up there. Like it was so it's a lot of fun.
Cool.
But the big concert, like that's it. Like Rich and I were talking about this before we started taping, before we went live, is that the January and February have been a little light on concerts. It's going to ramp up, but the only thing I've seen this year was, of course,
Yeah.
Metal Hall of Fame is a whole big event with live music. But the Metal Allegiance was the only show I'd seen. They're talking about putting out a new album. I definitely like the Metal Allegiance albums. I got to admit, I'm guilty of. My favorite parts of the evening when you see Metal Allegiance are the classic
Your
tunes. Like
favorite classics, yeah.
yeah, like when I don't want to get into any kind of Sepultura controversy, but like when they had second Derek Green came out and they did
Mhm.
Territory. That's a Max era song, and no offense, Derek, Max does it better, but it was great to hear. Absolutely
Cool.
great to hear that song, and great to hear Elimination. Bobby was on lead vocals. Robert Trujillo came out at the very end. They did War Pigs. Now, we've all heard War Pigs a million times. It's still kind of special. And the song still kicks. I mean, to have Mark
Mhm.
Tornillo and Bobby Blitz like trading off the vocals, it's still pretty special. So it's a great event. John Bush did Killers, and he did it absolutely perfectly. I mean,
Cool.
just see Metal Allegiance whenever you can. Like they tour. And they do an annual
Yeah.
thing around NAMM. So it's a great show.
And speaking of NAM, does anybody, I mean, go into that, but does anybody perform at NAM, or it's just people doing, the booths with their instruments?
Yeah, there are performances at the booths, and then there are like NAMM jams, and there are some shows. There are concerts that spring up around NAMM, but yeah, there are
Right.
people that perform at NAMM, like the NAMM jam. Like I just full disclosure, I left on Friday, so I missed kind of the weekend, which is really when NAMM hits its stride. So I missed all the big
Mhm.
events, all the big jams and concerts and shows. But yeah, that does happen at NAMM. But yeah, also there are performances at booths. Like I know
Cool.
John Petrucci went to the Ernie Ball booth, and he did a little demo, sat there with his guitar, and then signed autographs.
Mhm.
So that will happen too, like just at the booths.
Cool. I didn't have any concerts yet. I got one coming up. That's it.
Yeah,
Immediate
yeah, yeah.
future.
I don't have any in February, so
Mhm.
we'll
Cool.
table that.
Do another one. Yep.
Yeah,
Actually, my first one is, if I look at my calendar here, is, I think I mentioned to you, what was it? Which could lead into the retro album that we're talking about. Vandenberg, right?
Vandenberg. Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to see them in Red Bank in March 4th.
Now is he doing White Snake stuff, or is he just doing his Vandenberg? Because I mean, if you don't know, Vandenberg
Yeah,
had released a couple albums under that name in the '80s.
right. Let me see. He does a lot of Whitesnake. He does do some Vandenberg. I don't think he does enough personally, because I do like those records. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 Whitesnake songs in there.
Smart. That's a smart thing to do. You
Yeah.
know, because those Vandenberg albums are definitely not as well known. The Whitesnake stuff is with Massive. I mean, this is one of the
I
biggest
know.
bands of that era. So
I know. And he played, if you don't know, you know that he didn't play the guitars on the 87 record, but
right.
he does play the solo on Here I Go Again. It's John Sykes that does all the guitars, but Vandenberg does the solo for Here I Go Again.
Yeah, I wasn't. I never really. There was that weird little dynamic in that era where like
Hmm.
you might have seen Steve Vai on stage if you saw them around that time. Like it was a
Well,
weird
that was
thing where
after. That was Slip of the Tongue.
right. But I think he was touring before that album. Like you might have caught like if you caught Whitesnake,
No,
you
it
might have
was for the 87 album, the one that Sykes played on, it was
right.
Vandenberg and Vivian Campbell,
And Vivian Campbell, right? Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then the next record with Slip of the Tongue, it was Adrian Vandenberg and Steve Vai live.
right. But I
Yeah.
mean now. I'll defer to your expertise and other historians, but I'm pretty sure Vi didn't just join for the album and then tour. I thought he was touring with them, but
No,
I
it
could be
was just
wrong.
for Slip of
So
the Tongue.
yeah,
So back to the Vandenberg. Yeah, there's 7 Whitesnake songs, and then there's only 3 Vandenberg songs from those first couple records, and then he does a couple new ones too. So he's got to
I
throw
got
in a few more Vandenberg songs.
yeah. Well, that's so Rich and I, as we were saying, I've got two classic albums that I want to talk about. I mean,
Right.
if you know me, I'm never not listening to music, but I've got
Mhm.
so I could talk for 4 hours about what I've been listening to. So I picked
Right.
two. I picked two
Right.
albums to talk about. One of them was Heading for a Storm. It's actually not it's not his signature album from the
It's the
80s.
second one.
It's the second one. Yeah, but it's a decent album. It is a solid album. It's very like when you're listening to it, you're absolutely going like this is so of its time. So I mean, if you don't like that, you're not going to like it. But it's like Rich was saying earlier, it's really catchy. It's really there's a lot of good. It's
Great
really easy.
hooks.
It's easy. Yeah. I don't want to say
Yeah.
easy listening because that's a different thing. But it's very easy. It's easy on the ears. I think my favorite song is "This Is War," which is probably the heaviest on the album.
Yeah.
That's where I go. Good,
And
good, hard.
obviously, you know the big hit from the first one from 1982. That was, do you remember? Burning Heart.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
That one even had a
And
big,
Wait, that was a
yeah.
great, that was another one too. But on the second one, which I actually like, what'd you think of Friday Night? That's like my favorite. And it's not in the set list right now.
Yeah, I mean it's a good party song. Like Welcome to the
Yeah.
Club. These are like good time songs. Like this is just,
Yeah. I
it's
want
easy.
to
And
hear
it's
that. I want to hear Welcome to the Club and the song Heading for the Storm.
I mean my tastes do run a little heavier, but it's a good solid
Yeah.
album. And by the way, it's not like I was just like had some Vandenberg tapes back in the day. Like
Right.
I was a mild fan. So, it's good stuff. Like I've
That's
got no
cool that
beef
you went
with
back to that one. That's cool.
yeah, like I'll definitely go back to others again. Maybe, not like next week, but I'll go back and revisit some of the classics. No, I've never listened. Really, I know we're getting low on time. I've never listened to his stuff from this century. How do you like the newer Vandenberg
I
stuff?
like it. I don't like it as much as the old stuff. It's not the same singer. It's a different singer.
Okay.
But it's cool. It's all right. I think can't think of the singer's name. Hold on. I gotta find this now. Hold on. It's gonna bother me because I forgot. The singer is Matt Levin, who's a great
Okay.
singer. He's got a little bit of a different tone though. He's a little bit grittier.
Yeah,
So if you don't
yeah,
know Matt's, he sang for Yngwie Malmsteen on the
right.
record "Facing the Animal." Do you know that one? Can you hear me?
Oop, yeah, another glitch in the
Oh,
matrix. Yeah,
he
yeah,
sang for facing the album "Facing the Animal" from Yngwie.
yeah. Which is a good album actually. It's underappreciated for sure.
Yeah, it's a great
Uh,
album. So he sings with I'm pretty sure he still does. I don't know if they changed singers for this tour, but I thought he was still singing with them.
with
Um,
Vandenberg.
yes, yeah, for the touring band too. Yeah,
All right, so you've got a classic too. I got one more classic to
I
tell us.
do.
Tell
I
us
do.
how many do you
So
have? Do you have a couple, or you just have one?
I got one.
All right.
So the Rat reissues came out last year in the box set,
Yeah, yeah.
just excluding the EP that's supposed to come out separate. So they
Right.
put out the 40th anniversary for Out of the Cellar, and it's got this cover, the lenticular color cover. right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
turn it, it's like regular, and then it's like that, which is pretty
Nice.
neat, right? Yep, lenticular clever on red and black splatter vinyl, which I'll show you that. And it comes with the single, which a lot of people know it's out there. Reach for the Sky, which is not from the record of the same
Right.
title. So that was a song that was recorded at the time and never got finished and never came out for Cellar.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is cool. It's a good song. It feels like it, could have totally been on out of the Cellar. And
That
the
was peak
vinyl,
Piercy too. I think that
what's
was
that?
peak Piercy for his voice. He still sounds good today, but like it
Huh?
was peak.
But check out how cool this vinyl is, though.
Yeah, it's a gimmick, but cool. But
It's
cool.
great.
I like it.
A lot of a
Yeah.
lot of vinyls that they reissue on colors and stuff, kind of some of them are kind of flat and bland, but this is very cool.
Yeah, looks good.
And the remaster
And
sounds amazing. If you don't get vinyl, stuff like Rat, Dokken, even some of the thrash bands like Testament, when these bands do reissues and remasters, you got to get the remasters because they fix all like because you remember stuff in the 80s, it was very trebly. There was like no real bottom end. There was no real bass. You couldn't feel the drums pounding. When you
right.
get stuff like this on vinyl, it fixes all that, balances it out.
See, I've never listened to Out of the Cellar or Invasion of Your Privacy and thought that they had production issues, but I'll check out the new ones. Like I like the
Not that there
production.
were production
Good,
issues,
but
but these were Bow Hill, right? If I'm correct, right?
was it?
Bow Hill, yeah. Bow Hill produced the Rat albums,
Yeah.
and those always
Yeah.
sounded good.
Yeah, I think they're good albums. But all right, I'll have
Yeah,
to definitely check out the remaster.
yeah.
All right, so my I guess we can wrap this up with my
Mhm.
final old school I wanted to bring up was, I mean, Rich and I had talked for years about Nevermore. I actually thought Jeff Loomis on stage, it was a cool thing at Metal Allegiance. Actually, let me tell the quick story. I got to talk to Alyssa White Glues for like a couple of minutes at Metal Hall of Fame, and I brought up Jeff Loomis. I was like, and she was, I said, like, talk to me about Jeff Loomis. Like, he's one of the best guitar players in the world. She said, he's the best guitar player in the world. And she said, I'm going to be playing with him over the weekend. And I got to see it. She and Loomis came out and did a song together at Metal Allegiance. Anyway, that
Cool.
was a side story.
Right.
Um,
And the
he
record,
and then well, he's not on the new Arch Enemy, but
right?
so the old album I listened to was Nevermore. One of Nevermore's classics was Dreaming Neon Black, which
Love it.
is yeah, I mean, I did not, I'm not saying like I like this is a long time classic. This is not like a first listen, but it's
By
just
now would be considered a classic. It came out in '99. So how old is it now?
yeah. So it's 26 years old. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm saying it is a
dude,
classic. I'm
that's a
saying that
classic.
it's, if you don't know the album or if you don't know Nevermore, like this is a good place to start. I would actually, yeah, actually, I would start you here. I think my
Yeah.
personal favorite Nevermore is This Godless Endeavor, but that's a little intense. Like I think if I
Hmm.
were to just say go check out that first, I think you might be like, I don't know about this band. They're so heavy. So
You
I'd
wouldn't
say
start them
start.
with the first album, the self-titled one?
No, I'd start here. I started Dreaming Neon Black. I think
Okay.
it's well, I mean, Jeff, I think goes on to get more and more exciting. That's why I love the last two albums so much.
Mhm.
It's just he just goes into a new dimension with his
Okay.
guitar playing. But he was never not a virtuoso. He was never not amazing. So
Right.
Dreaming Neon Black is just good. We were talking about before we were going. Like it's got a little bit. It's even got a little bit of like doom elements, but it's a very
Yes,
versatile album.
it is.
And Worrell, maybe this may be Worrell's best album.
Uh-huh.
I'll say that. Worrell Dane, rest in peace, was
Yeah.
Nevermore singer. That might be his best singing and I don't know, lyrics. I don't know.
My
He was,
favorite vocal from him on this record is the song "Dreaming Neon Black" and "Deconstruction."
yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, Dreaming Neon Black. And
Yeah.
actually
The ballad
uh,
is awesome too, "Forever."
yes, thank you. It's like, oh my gosh, I gotta look it
I
up.
love "Forever." The
Forever.
problem is that it's too short. It's like 3 minutes, I think, and then it, does that thing where it's just dead space for I don't know how
Right.
long of like just silence. It's interesting, way to go out on it, but the song itself, it's only like 3 minutes long. I wish it was a tad longer.
Yeah, it is actually. I thought it was like 2 minutes. You're right. It's really short,
Yeah.
but just excellent stuff. If you're not into Nevermore, Nevermore is making a comeback. They still haven't announced their new singer, so I'm on the edge of my seat for that. I'm
Hmm.
hoping for Joseph Michael. He's toured with them. He's done or with Jeff Loomis. He's done Sanctuary stuff. That's my vote. So if I have any say in it,
And I
which I
think
don't,
most people know that Nevermore came from Sanctuary, who had two
right?
great records.
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And Joseph Michael did the Sanctuary tour,
Yeah.
so I'm fingers crossed that it's going to be Joseph Michael. But I'm interested no matter what they choose, even if
Yeah.
they go with another way. I'm there. So
So what's your two favorite songs on this record? I mean, you said you like the two that I mentioned. If you had to pick two
yeah.
favorites, what would they be?
Well, it would be Forever and Dreaming Neon Black. Those would be the ones I would go with.
I really like the two I mentioned, but my other favorite one, I think it's just crushing. I love it. Is Poison God Machine.
And I got to look at the track listing.
Yeah,
Um,
dude, you got to go back to that song. It is crushing.
Yeah, I mean, and even I Am the Dog. It's a silly name, but yeah, that's an excellent one. Poison God Machine is
Yeah.
definitely one of the ones. Yeah, All Play Dead. That's a good kind of deep cut.
Beyond Within is a great opener.
Yes, yeah, with the Ophidian kind of open, like the opening, like
Yeah, the instrumental.
instrumental opening. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, this album is really solid. It's not like, oh, you should skip whatever track. Like
Yeah.
play it from start to finish. But yeah, I think Forever and and yeah, and Dreaming Neon Black. Those are probably my favorites.
And that's part of my trilogy of favorite Nevermore albums. Politics, then Dreaming, and Dead Heart. My three faves.
Yeah, I mean, this band has such a great discography. Now's the perfect time. If you don't know them, now's the perfect time because they're
Yeah.
coming back.
Yep. Check them
And
out.
and and I'm going to go on record as saying I'm glad they're coming back. I know there's some people complained about it. I think it's great they're
Mhm.
coming back.
Yeah.
I
You
don't.
want to see the music again.
Yeah, I didn't think it was disrespectful for Alice in Chains to come back with a new
Hmm.
singer. I think they were reverent. Jeff Loomis. I mean, sure, if the first album is, or if the first song on their new album is is called "Screw We're Ordained," then I'll say, okay, you guys are out of line. But I think it's going to be reverent of him and the legacy. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. All right.
All right,
We're
yeah,
good. We did
37
all our
minutes.
music stuff, new stuff for January into early February, right?
Yep, yeah, and and plus it's good just chit chatting about this stuff. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more. This one's probably going to be a little bit longer than these usually go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're shooting for
Richard.
30 minutes, but whatever.
And we'll keep doing what we do. We'll keep having our friends. We'll keep having Erica and our guests on. We'll keep doing interviews. We'll keep doing that kind of thing. We haven't done that as much recently. We'll keep doing that kind of thing. But I think we'll do more of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
Try to
I'd
do
love to
new
see,
music reviews, new music coming out.
and actually, I'll say this. I know we're way over time. If whoever's still watching, let us know. Rich and I used to do something. We even had Sam Saltman and some guests on to talk about Tony Mast, who had people come on to talk about a famous song and a less famous song. We used to do that. We didn't get a lot of interest because people, as we said, the general public don't really want to hear about less famous songs. They want to hear about how great we're not going to take it is. They don't want to hear about the
Mhm.
price or obscure songs. So if you guys are into that, we'll bring it back. So let Rich or reach out to us directly. Let us know.
Cool.
All right, shutting up.
All
Let's catch you next time.